In this video, we are shifting from working with the sample project to start working with a real project. So in this video, we are going to create a new folder for the main project, and also we are going to set up the project for GitHub, and also we are going to run npm init and add some settings to the package.json file. Now the first thing we need to do right now is to create a new project. Now note, since we are shifting from the sample project, this project is going to be the project we are going to push to GitHub, and also the module we are going to publish to npm. Now the first thing that we need to do is we go to our terminal and create a new project. Now the name we are going to give it is going to be the name that we are going to make use of also in GitHub and also npm registry. Now I will move out of this sample project and move to the folder where I want to save all of the real projects we are going to create. So cd, I move out of these two folders, then I move into the folder cd node. Right now I'll create a new folder mkdir, and I'll call it random string module. Now this random string module, this is the name that I'm going to call the module when I want to publish it to the npm registry. So you should note that we cannot have, no two modules can have the same name. So you can decide to give your own some other name. Maybe you can give it random string without the hyphen. But for me, I'm going to call it random string module. And this is the same name I will give it when I want to publish it to the npm registry. So I hit enter, then I cd into the folder random string module. Right now I'm inside the module. Now recall that in the last section we saw how to install Git and also create an account on GitHub. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to open the Git terminal so that we can initialize the project and also run some other commands. So open up your Git terminal, then cd into the project. So mine, I'll cd into the project, cd node / random string module. Right now I'm inside the project. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to run the git init command, so to initialize the project. So I type in git init. It will initialize the project, so we can run git command on this. Now it says initialized empty git repository. Now after doing this, the next thing we need to do is to go to GitHub and create a new project. That is a brand new project. So go to the browser and I type in github.com. I believe you already have an account on GitHub. If you decide you want to use any other repository like Bitbucket, you can do same. But for this project, we're going to be using GitHub. So we're going to create a new project. I already logged in, so I'll create a new project on GitHub. Then I'll have to make my initial commit. Now, once you are logged in, you will be taken to this page. What we want to do now is to create a new project. Now to create a new project, you just click start a project or new repository. So I'll just click on this new repository. So I'll create a new repository and give it a name. I can give it a name of random string module. This is the name I'm calling it, random string module. See, that's okay. The description, you can leave it as optional. Then it's going to be public. Then for initialize this repository with a readme, we'll leave that. We're going to create the readme ourselves. So you can just add this random string module. Then description is optional. You can decide to put a description. But when we run the npm init, we are going to put a simple description. Then leave this initialize this repository with a readme as unchecked. We're going to create that ourselves. Then you click on this create repository. So you click on this. Then we're going to follow this instruction here to make our first commit and push to this repository. Here I'm going to set this up using HTTPS. So if you know how to use the SSH, you can do that, but for this purpose of this, I will use the HTTPS. Now if you check this, it says to create a new repository through the command line git init, which we've done. Now git add readme.md. What we're going to do, let's create this readme.md file. So we come inside our project, or rather through the command line. Through the command line, we can create a new file, touch readme.md, inside the project. Now what we need to do is to open the project with our test editor. Now the file has been created. We're going to open the project with our test editor. Right now I've opened the project and you can see the readme.md file that I created. Now this MD extension starts for markdown, so readme.markdown. Now what I want to do is I'll just create a simple test here. We'll just say readme tests file. So I have this. Now the next thing that we'll need to do, if we go back to this, it says git add readme.md. Now inside the project, if we type the command git status, we're going to see that this file readme.md is on track. To track it, we do git add dot to add everything. Then the next thing is to command is git commit -m, then with a message. So we run git commit -m, which stands for message. Then I can say this as first commit. So it's going to make our first commit. It's going to commit the readme.md file. Then the next thing is, it says to add this git remote. Now I will just copy this out from here. I'll copy this out, then add it here. So I paste the code right here, then I hit enter. Then the next thing is to push the code. You can push the code using git push -u origin master. I copy that as well. Then I'll paste the code here. So I paste the code, then it's going to push our code to the repository. It could ask for the username and the password. So if it asks, or if it requests for your username and password, you have to use the same username and password you used while creating an account on GitHub. So I'll just add mine here, and the password I'll put this. Okay, I'm getting an error. So what I'll do, basically, I'll just try to rerun this again. So git push origin master. Now hit enter. Then I add this, the username and the password. So it's going to push the code we already have to the repository. So you can see that this is successful. So you can do the same if it requests that you add your username and your password. Now if we go to the project, open the random string module project. Right here you can see right now that we've made our first commit, and we have our readme.md file and a test here that says readme test file. We're going to change this later. We're going to make this look much more better and add some description to the readme.md file. Now since we have this now on GitHub, the next thing that we need to do from the git command line is to run the npm init, so that we initialize the project using npm. So inside the project, through the Node.js command prompt, you type npm init. Now since you've already initialized the project for Git, it's going to automatically add your Git URL. It's going to add the repository to the project automatically. So wait for this to request us for the details that we need to add. So right now it's requesting us for us to add the settings. Now first, for the name, we're going to leave the name as it is, random string module. That is for me. But for you, you have to give it a different name. As I said earlier, no two packages can have, or no two modules can have the same name. So mine is random-string-module. So I'll leave it that way. Then for the version, now there's something very important you need to know about this version. We have 3 values here. For the version, I'll do mine as 0.10.0. Now, what you need to know is this versioning follows a particular pattern. If you fix any bug in your module and you are updating, you have to increment this first value here. That is this value we have here. If you fix any bug in your module, you have to increment this value. But if you fix any bug or you add new features to your module without breaking the old code, maybe you decide to add a new function to what you already have, you increment this value we have here in the middle. But for this last one, if you just fix bugs, you need to just increment this value. So for this first one, if you add new features or fix bugs and you break the old code, you increment this first value. But if you add new features without breaking the old code, you increment this other value. But if you fix bugs or add new features or something, you have to increment this third value. Now for this case, we'll leave it this way as 0.10.0. So if we decide to add a new feature or a new function to our already existing module, we'll just increment the middle values. But if we fix any kind of bug, we'll increment this last value. And also if we break the code by maybe when we fix bugs or add new features, then we break the code, we are going to increment this last value. So we'll leave the version as 0.10.0. Now for the description, I'm going to add a simple description. I'll say a module that returns alphanumeric strings. So this is just this brief description, and this is how it is going to be shown on the NPM registry. So when somebody searches for my module and they open to see what we have in the module, this is the description that will be seen. So a module that returns alphanumeric strings. You can add whatever module you feel like. Then the entry point for me is going to be server.js. I'm going to use server.js as my entry point. Now the test command, for now I will just, because we are not going to write any tests for this particular module, so I'll leave this empty. Now note, because we already initialized this project for Git, it's by default is adding the Git path or the repository to the project. So as you can see, the repository for this project is already added here. Then the keywords. Now you need to add some keywords so that when users want to search for a module or for a module that can solve a particular problem, like generating alphanumeric strings, then when they type in the keywords, whatever keywords you add can allow your module to be displayed on the search page. So for this, I'll just add string, something like random. I can add crypto, even though we are not using any crypto module. I can add crypto to it. Also, I can add characters. So these are just the keywords I'm adding. You can add as much keywords as you want. Then author, I'll put my name here. You can add your name as well. Then the license, you can leave the default or you can add the MIT license. So now if you check to see if everything is okay, if they are okay, then you just hit enter. For me, they're okay, so I'll hit enter. So as you can see, we have the Git repository. Now to fix bugs, we have the link or the Git page or link to fix bugs and for the README as well. So I will hit enter. And right now we've initialized the project using npm. Now if I go to my project and I refresh the page, right now you will see that I have the package.json. Now if I open the package.json file, you can see what we have here. You can see the keywords, string, random, crypto, characters. We are not writing any text for this particular project, so we'll just leave the text as this. Then for the name, the version, the description, and every other thing here, we'll leave them here. Now, you should note for this project, we are not using any third-party module. So we are not seeing anything like a dependency or a dev dependency. Maybe if you are creating a module that requires you to use a third-party module, then you're going to see the dependency added here. So right now, we've initialized the project and the project now is ready. In the next video, we're going to create the server.js file, then add the function, then export it and publish to the npm registry. We're going to start working on that in the next video.